what time it is. Somebody, you know. Good morning. How y'all feeling out there? It is 6 a.m. on the West Coast. It is 9 a.m. on the East Coast, which makes it what, 8 a.m. Middle East Central Time. Whatever the case is, if you are up and you can see this, then I am so happy to be here with you. I'm Omi Bell. I'm many things. Wait a minute. I feel like I'm out of view for my visual. I gotta do this. Let's see. There you go. This way. There you go. That's better. Um, it was crazy the way it was making me. Okay, there we go. On Instagram. So I'm Omi Bell. Some may know me as the CEO and founder of Black Girl Ventures. Some may know me as a community builder, friend, sister, all the wonderful things. But I'm also creating and I don't even know. So I really, what I'm going to use this space for is to really be vulnerable about what it looks like to build different things, right? Because part of me has been wanting to put a name on what I'm building. And I think that's what I typically do first. The first thing I do, so when I'm building something, the first thing I do is I figure out how to name it. And I'm so good at that. I'm good at naming things. If you need help on naming things, like, I'll let you girl, because it's one of my, especially like if we enter into conversations, then I'm good at naming things. At first, the name of Black Girl Ventures was Black Girl Vision. And as we scaled, though, I said, Black Girl Vision is not going to work. All right. That sounds like one woman. And I'm like, we need to figure that out. Plus, Black Girl Vision sounds more, I mean, we are, and Black Girl Ventures is a nonprofit, but Black Girl Vision sounded more nonprofit. Like, and I felt like Black Girl Ventures sounded more like money. So I was like, yeah, we're going to go with Black Girl Ventures. And I think that what I typically do is I'm good at saying, let's pack all of that into a brand that is like not me with my name and put it over here, and I could like build that out and I can like tinker it and play around with it. And so I'm good at that. What I'm learning about this journey that I'm on right now, which is leaning more toward the wellness space, leaning more toward, like I've been telling people, like the idea of that you have to choose between be resting and performing. Like I'm shattering that idea. You do not have to choose between resting and performing. In fact, rest is a part of performance. And I think in the business world, in the world of making money, is the place where that somehow gets mixed up. But in the world of sports or working out, or like, people who are elite athletes, they fully understand that they have to have a rest day, that their muscles need a rest day, that rest is a part of their performance, right? Like a lot of people talk about LeBron James and his investment in his body. And a large part of that investment in his body includes rest. There we go. Includes rest. And so I am saying it's important for us to think about what that means. We bring it into play all the time. So 3B Society stands for body, business, and belonging. And essentially, it's a community for the ambitious and the curious. People juggling more than most, tired of feeling tired and done buying into hustle culture as the answer. Because I used to be team no sleep. Okay, I was like, what? Let's get it. And then, building my business from zero to at $1.5 million in revenue and $5 million operating budget, because it's a nonprofit. And then working through systematizing everything and getting that to a cool, consistent $3 to $4 million annual operating. Going from like zero employees to volunteers to a set of maybe 5 or 6 volunteers, scrapping that whole volunteer team because I was like, y'all not gonna give me where I wanted to go. Building up another batch of volunteers plus 1 full-time employee, and taking all of that and building to a team of about 20 people. Actually, the largest the team has been is about 25 people. And then going down to about 20 people, and then full-time 14. But again, like in this sort of like going big, refining, systematizing, going into understanding what really needed to happen for sustainability, was a part of my journey. In all of that, I'm saying all of that to say that I thought that, hustling hard and moving fast and like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta make this thing pop. I in my mind, I told myself that that was the way. That was why I was successful. I was successful because I was not resting. I was successful because I was in this outwork everybody mode. People that I couldn't even see, like who was I outworking? I couldn't see them, but somebody out there, you know what I mean? Like you just make up. Sometimes I think when you're in go mode, you have these adversaries in mind somewhere that you have to beat out, right? So like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's not real. So for example, I had my first child when I was 17. And so in having my first child when I was 17, second child at 21. So people didn't think I was gonna make it. Aside from the fact that like my latter years of high school, I was messing around, yeah. Not even latter years. By the time I hit 10th grade, I was wilding out. Like you know how they have those senior books at the end of the year? In my senior book at the end of the year, people were saying things like, I hope you make it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like it was that level of like, yo, I was wilding out. Even when I went to college. When I went to college, I got pregnant in college my junior year. And same thing, I feel like people like I saw this guy that was in my class some years later, and he was like, yeah, did you graduate? I'm like, I was about to use the N-word. I'm like, yeah, what you mean did I graduate? You know what I'm saying? And on time, stop playing with me. Because I was pregnant walking across campus. So I think maybe, people just assume, but that's the thing. There's a lot of assumptions that people make or made, let me say that, when they saw me as a pregnant teen and they saw me as a pregnant college student. And the assumption is like, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't gonna make it. And then there's like there's also all the statistics. The statistics will tell you, like, oh yeah, if you get pregnant, if you get pregnant 1 year, you might be likely to get pregnant as a teenager. You're likely to get pregnant 3 years later. Well, nobody told me that stat, but like it was true. Wish I would have known that. But there were things that were like pressing stats, like, oh, if you're a teen mom, you're not gonna graduate from high school. Oh, if you're a teen mom, your kids ain't gonna graduate from high school. Oh, if you're a teen mom, your kids ain't gonna go to college. Oh, if you're like, there were all these things that would constantly say, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it. And I told myself, oh heck no. Oh, I'm gonna make it. Because you don't get to tell me whether or not I get to make it. You know what I mean? You don't get to tell me that I'm gonna make it or I'm not gonna make it. I'm going to make it. Let me show you how. Let me show you how. Let me go, because it's about to, you know what I mean? I was just like, nah, you don't get to tell me what I'm not gonna be able to do. That's not gonna work. Because I'll do what I feel like doing. And so in that, I always say, like, people can see what you have done, but people can't see what you're about to do. And a lot of times that's in your own mind or your own vision. And even the team around you that has the plans for what y'all are about to execute on still is not a part of, like, inside of your brain enough to know what you're going to do with what they're about to execute on. Right. So like, and I'm bringing visions to my team constantly, like, hey, let's do these moves. But they don't know, they know why to do the move, in terms of like, they know to work out, they know it's great stats, yada yada. We got to do things for funders, blah blah blah, do things for our community. But they may not know for real how I'm about to leverage whatever the thing is, because I'm also building in real time as well. So by the time we execute on the thing, I'm like, you know what? Let's take this. Oh wow, that turned out great. So then I'm going to talk to somebody else. I mean, like, look, this right here we did, this thing we did, we need to do it like this. We need to leverage like that. Here's what we can, you know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I think that be mindful of the ways that people put things on you that are not you. another example of that. I was so Skylar, when it comes to like math or her getting problems wrong, she gets like really caught up in that. Like her little energy will start to get low, and you could tell on her face that she's doing something hard. And so, we finish our timetable. We're doing timetables practice. We finish the timetables practice up, and she's going into her room. And now, at one point we're playing, laughing, everything. But now she's like down, and she's like not talking. And so, as a mom, immediately I'm like, Skylar, you cannot, every time you get a wrong answer or get something wrong, you can't go into this bubble phase and just like, now you don't want to talk to nobody for the rest of the night. Like, now you don't want to have fun. Now you don't, and now you're like, you can't move through it. And she's like, and I'm having the mom talk. You know what? We're going to get you a therapist and have you somebody to talk to. She's like, I don't want anybody to talk to. I'm like, why do you want somebody to talk to? Like, what's up with that? We need to like move through these feelings and figure out how you cope with these emotions. And she's like, I'm not going to be like this for a long time though. She's like, I just need a minute. And when she said, I just need a minute, like I had to like pause myself and be like, let me check myself. Right? Like, let me check me and let me just give her a minute. Right. And shout out to her. She's only 11, but for having that level of social emotional intelligence. But I think that like it's something that I don't know that I ever got. I don't even know if it was a space that I could even articulate. I don't even know if it was something that I even knew I could say to a boss, to my parents at that age, or to like, I just need a minute. Like, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna bounce back and achieve, but I just need a minute. Everything about me was built the opposite way. Was built on like, achieve, go, go, go. You don't got time. You don't got time to be thinking about nothing else. You don't got time for no feelings. You don't got time for no emotions. You don't got time for that because you got to achieve. You got to make this next grade. You got to make this next boss happy. You got to make this next performance review be well. You got to, and now I can't imagine what the workforce of today is up against. You gotta be better than AI. Like you gotta be better than a machine. You gotta be faster thinking than a machine. And it's hard even as a boss, as an employer, to not drink the Kool-Aid. And I've drunk a little bit of Kool-Aid of the AI Kool-Aid too. And the thing about it, the Kool-Aid's good. It's not. This is not drinking the Kool-Aid where it's false. It's sweet. And it's like trying to hold two realities of like, I need you to be savvy enough to be an early adapter to a piece of tech that's coming out. Whereas you may not have been an early adapter to any tech before. But being able to, because we got to, we got to be ahead of the game. We got to go. We got to, you know what I mean? And in regulating my own nervous system, this is why one of the reasons why I go live on LinkedIn with this content is because if you're out there and you're an employer or an employee or somebody's manager, it is of the utmost importance that you regulate your nervous system, because you're having to go in and lead people. And a lot of times we're leading people cerebral, like from the brain, from the thoughts. And sometimes from those thoughts are overthinking. But a lot of what people are needing right now, or have been needing, is leading from a place of groundedness, and people who can hold the thoughts and the groundedness of how do I want to say this, of settled vision, strategic, set up, grounded movement. Because right now, if you try to if you try to like fly with everything that's coming out or everything that's happening, you're just gonna be flapping in the wind. You're just gonna be like you're like we are watching our news in the same place we watch our entertainment. We are consuming an immense amount of content a day. And I'm not talking about, when I say content, I mean period. Whether you are looking at social content, whether you're looking at news on TV content, and here's the interesting thing about this. Now, I know that nowadays we talk about like consuming our news in the same place that we're consuming our entertainment. But the news, back in the day when you were just looking at news on TV, there was always this feel good story that will pop out of the news, right? It would be like, it would be like war and like, politics and like what everybody's doing. And then all of a sudden there would be these puppies on screen. I mean, like, oh yeah, and here are the puppies over at the X, Y, and Z adoption center, right? Or to be like, oh, here's this kid who reads to senior citizens, or be like, oh, here's this, like, and you would have these like almost like almost like these moments of the news bringing you a nervous system regulation moment because people were dialed into that news only. But now that we have so many places to go get news, the news on TV, your primary news outlets are competing with the social outlets. Where like the social outlets can slot in anything at any moment. They don't have to have a time frame for it. They don't have to go like, oh, and when we come back, we're gonna cover puppies in an adoption center, right? It's like, no, they could just like slide the puppies in, slide Real Housewives in, slide in a ton of the freaking war news, and so it's just like rapid all the time. Have you ever been to a hockey game? No, I know how the Capitals games work. I haven't been to any other hockey games, but the Capitals, the Capitals game, the hockey team in Washington D.C., they have like hockey game goes, and then they'll have this like moment of like breathing, and they'll put like ocean sounds on the big jumbotron, and then they'll go like, take a breath. And because I think somebody realized that hockey games must be really disruptive to the nervous system. Now, I have not looked this up, but in terms of just like the emotional, like there's a bunch of like sticks and hitting and fighting and and it's funny. I wonder why they don't do this at football games. And maybe they just noticed that the level of angst that people drum up at a hockey game is different. But when I've been to a couple of them, and when that happened, I went like, wow. This is before I even got into nervous system regulation work, but that happened, and I was like, wow, somebody. I never knew that this happened at hockey games, and maybe it happened at all the games. And I'm wondering what the decision making was to do that, but we never like that doesn't just happen in any other place unless you're following certain profiles. By the way, follow at the 3B Society. Make sure you put the in the front. At the 3B Society on Instagram. On YouTube, it's 3B Society. But like I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. So it makes me think about, are we inserting that into our regular days, like on a regular basis, where like so much is happening, and do we just take that, I just need a minute, like that just like, just give me a minute, Mom. That's basically what Skylar was saying to me. And I think it's so key to regulating our nervous system, how we have to live through our life. So thank y'all for turning in. Don't turn in. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be back in a little bit because I have a guest coming on in about 30 minutes. But I wanted to get this segment out because I'm working to move from a more softer place these days, in how I have been moving throughout life. And yeah, I'm looking to just live life from a softer place. I'm going to put it on my dating profile too, I think, because I'm dating, but I'm looking to date from a softer place. I built a company. I know what that feels like. Company's still rocking and rolling. Employees are great. Everything's moving forward. And I also want to move from a more grounded place, from a more rested place, from a place of just mastery of self, mastery of calm. And the level of decision making you can make from that place is just, I think, the unique vantage point. At one point, I said, I'm about to sign off, but at one point, I trained my team on intuition. So I had an intuitive business specialist come in and train my whole team on intuition and how to use it. We all have it. And I had him train my team on how to use intuition deeper because I said to myself, if you're leading with your intuition, nobody can catch you up on your unique vantage point. Your unique vantage point can always be unique because you're moving from intuition. That means these are messages are specifically coming to you, for you, to move through the thing that you are building, that nobody else can build quite like you can build it. And so in that case, you always have the advantage, but it's an advantage for you, unique advantage to you. So I just want to bow and encourage everybody out there to think about how you're operating from a more grounded place, from a more rested place, from a more spiritual place. What does that look like? Yeah. What does that look like for you? So y'all keep a lock right here. I will be right back.